Welcome to River Region Talk. I'm Cynthia Mallard, and here we are again just for another edition of some good news, something that you can use going forward. The Alabama State Bar's Young Lawyers Association, you know what? They're having conferences that are coming to town, talking about Montgomery and Birmingham. That's going to introduce our high school students, to the legal field. Now, you know what? I think back, maybe I should have went into the legal field now, but I have attorney Navan Ward Jr., who is a partner with the Beasley Allen law firm here in Montgomery. And I got to say, welcome to River Region Talk.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
You know what? Very interesting. I'm hearing about this new program, new conferences that are coming just to help our youth really break into the legal field. I guess explain to me, describe what the conference is.
Well, first of all, it's actually a collaborative effort. This has actually been a conference that we've been doing for the past several years here in Montgomery, and the Capital City Bar Association, which is the Minority Black Lawyers Association located here in Montgomery, initiated this particular concept or conference, and the Young Lawyers section of Alabama Bar, which comprises all lawyers, regardless of ethnicity, around the state, has also jumped in to help out with it. And the basic concept or principle is to introduce 11th, 12th grade high school students from the surrounding high school areas, whether it be here in Montgomery or in Birmingham, and give them an introduction to the legal field, whether they the desire to go and be a lawyer or just aspire to go to college and pursue some type of post-graduate career type of format. And so practically speaking, probably only 20 to 30% of the students, high school students that come to this particular conference will want to be lawyers.
Wow. Okay. Now, hold on now. It's the annual Minority Pre-Law Conference. So you're saying, hold on now, only 20%.
That's probably a good, we always ask during the conference at some point in time, generally towards the beginning, who all want to be lawyers, who all thought about being lawyers.
Right.
And the thing is, I know for me, it was L.A. Law seeing Blair Underwood.
You're right.
As I know exactly what he did. I didn't know exactly what a lawyer was supposed to be, but I saw a black guy doing something positive, and he appeared to command respect. Very powerful.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have one-on-one contact with a lawyer. And so coming into this conference, I would assume many of the students probably are in the same position, not to have family members or friends that they can talk to. And so the classrooms you're asking for is the criminal justice or the American civil justice type of classes that at least are geared toward this. And it's to introduce these students into the area of law.
Now, I know that in the conference, you're talking about introducing the students to this area. Now, I was looking at the kind of the rundown, the makeup of the conference, and what it kind of all entails. You offer a lot in these conferences.
Exactly. Well, we have several different things, but one of the first topics or things we go through is college prep, law school prep. Type of speaker, 15, 20-minute speaker. And not only do they focus on how to get into law school, they focus on the first step as far as getting into college, period. And so in that respect, it helps the 100% that may be trying to pursue college and not necessarily law school, which, reduces it to that 20 to 30%.
Gotcha.
So it's designed to, that college prep time period is designed to just help everyone out. And give you a good idea of what you have to go through. You have the 4 years of college, but that's not it. You have another 3 years if you want to be a doctor. You have another 4+ years if you want to be, a PhD or whatever else. This is the same type of preparation you're going to have to take. And then we go forward into more of the focusing in on the legal aspect of it. We have panel discussions where we have 5 to 6 different minority attorneys doing doing different things.
Now, when you say minority attorneys, now are we talking about African American minorities? Or?
We're talking about black folk.
Okay.
We're talking about black attorneys who do different things in the law. A lot of times when I meet people, I tell them that I'm a lawyer, they automatically think, oh, you're a criminal. And no, it's, a lot other areas of law that's out there besides that. And so this panel will focus in on each different person. You have a criminal attorney there, but you'll have a corporate defense attorney there.
But what I understand, the corporate is sometimes the more lucrative preference of most lawyers.
It can be. It can be. And you have, different aspects of corporate law. You have, personal injury law, where, attorneys advocate for victims. And you have just various governmental jobs, and a lot of business owners are lawyers. So we have people who don't do the traditional lawyer track with a law degree, and so we put those 5 to 6 different people on the panel
out there, right? So the students can see
so
them.
They can see
right?
It's not just one thing when you become a lawyer. It's different range of things, obviously different range of pay, and that's always their first question. When
you were saying that people, when they meet you, they assume that you are a criminal. Isn't that type of like what you call the pretty boy or the glamorous side of the law? Or people perceive it to be the glamorous when you're a criminal lawyer?
Well, that's the criminal lawyer is what people typically see
in television shows,
movies. Our beloved Johnny Cochran. But as far as how high profile or how glamorous that is, you would have to be a Johnny Cochran getting the celebrity clients on a regular basis, but the average criminal attorney gets the average person on the street who has an unfortunate situation of needing a criminal attorney, and so
representing a lot of times indigent clients also.
Exactly, and so there's not much glamour typically with the average criminal attorney as compared to any other attorney that's out there.
Gotcha. Okay, so the panels will be there. Moving on, what else will be included in that conference?
One of the biggest treats for the students is we have a mock trial or replica trial, so to speak, where we have either, majority of times it will be all lawyers doing it, and sometimes we incorporate law students to join in, and we have a mock trial package, so to speak. And this year in Montgomery, the BALSA, Black Law Student Association that attends Jones, has done exceptionally well in their mock trial competitions, to where they've beat several big Division I schools around the country, and so we're going to have them actually perform the trial since they've done such an excellent job.
So you're able to do competitions. I think some people probably may not know about this, that there's a competition that these kids actually go through, or young adults go through.
In law school, yes.
Wow.
And that kind of hones your skills into when you actually become a lawyer.
Right.
I was on the mock trial or trial team in law school, and I remember my first couple trials, nervous can be, shaking, getting up, and after I asked the first couple questions, in the back of my head, I remember distinctly hearing, where have I done this before? And obviously I was more comfortable because I had that experience in law school.
Where'd you go to law school?
University of Alabama.
University of Alabama. Undergrad also?
Undergrad and law school. A fun 7 years up that way.
I can imagine. Now, the mock trial, you said that law students participate, of course. They create the whole mock trial.
Well, this year we're specifically having law students do it because this particular, the Jones students have done such a good job this year.
Now, how do the high school students play a part in this mock trial?
Well, they view the mock trial, and of course we condense it into about an hour and a half long. We have these trial packets, and generally they're pretty good topics dealing with, drug bust or whatever, something to keep 11th and 12th grade attention span.
Interested, of course.
And they typically get into it, and the way they play a role in it is to actually see. We have the judge there. We have the judge acting like a judge. And actually, this particular one in Montgomery will be at the federal courthouse. We will bust the students into the federal courthouse for the mock trial portion of it, and the the keynote speaker, which you'll get to a little later, and Judge Terry Moore, which is a actual federal district court magistrate judge here. In the Southern or Middle District here in Montgomery. He's going to be the one actually presiding. Last year we had Federal Court Judge Thompson do it. And Myron Thompson, right. Yes. And you're actually inside the courtroom. And you get a good feel. I mean, Judge Thompson went so far as to have an actual court reporter typing down or dictating down the testimony that went there, and he conducted like a real trial. And so they're able to get that real trial experience, and they act. Their participation is they're broken up in groups, and they are the jurors, and they come back either at the end of the conference or at the end of the mock trial period, depending on time limitations.
So when they break out in these sessions, they actually contemplate the evidence and everything that they've heard.
Exactly,
basically. Cool.
Exactly. And I've been a part of their jury deliberations, and surprisingly,
how do those go?
Surprisingly, it is very real world, realistic. They get into it. They, some of them have almost gone to blows on deciding on issues and which way they have to, which way each group will go. Because, in the Birmingham, it's going to be about 355 students. Here in Montgomery, it's going to be about 250 students. And so they break out into about 20, 30 groups each. And so depending on what type of case it is, if it's a criminal case, each and every one of the students of the jurors have to be unanimous. And so in order to come up with a guilty or not guilty, they engage in very good discussions to where, during the mock trial, some of them may be looking like they're losing their attention. But when they get back there to the jury room,
they really interact.
They interact and they say things that, I've seen the mock trial pack, and I didn't pick up several of the things that they noticed.
Right. Wow. Because they're young minds, much more alert than say us old fogies.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing two people that looks pretty young at heart to me. So,
well, thank you so very much. Talking about the pre-law conference, I know that it says Birmingham's will be April 2nd, and then Montgomery's going to be April 17th, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are we involving? Is it just Black children, Black high school students that will be attending this conference?
Well, it's minority. Mainly focusing on minority students. However, all students are welcome.
No, has it already been determined?
It's already been determined.
Okay.
For the past several months, we've just reached out to the guidance counselors, identified the different schools in each of the areas.
Gotcha.
And here in Montgomery, we'll be having St. Jude, Jeff Davis, Lee Lanier, BTW Magnet, and we've also expanded since the first few years have gone so good, and gotten Bullock County High School to come in.
Amazing. Now, let me ask you. I guess when these kids leave this program, because I guess it's a one-day event.
It's a one-day event.
It's a one-day event. What do they say? What's the reaction after going through this mock trial, the whole sessions? What's the sentiments?
Well, after the mock trial, of course, you have the keynote speaker, which is generally a judge or some prominent lawyer speak to them, give them words of encouragement, and then you have a breakout session where it's typically where the jury deliberations also happen. But you also have the students that are grouped together. They have 2 to 3 minority attorneys there, and that purpose is to tell them or talk to them about what they do on a daily basis and have one-on-one interaction and discussion with them. And so the reaction and some of the children or the high school students that I've talked with in the past few years has been very, very positive as far as really opening their eyes to.
What are some of the questions they ask or tell you? What's some of their realizations, I should say?
The main question is how much you all get paid.
Everybody wants to know how much money you're making.
Everybody wants to know. It's so much so that we actually have information packets that we hand out to the students, and we include regular college information because, of course, that's the first step. So we get the surrounding colleges, Alabama State, A&M, Huntington, Auburn, Alabama. We have missions information there for them, and also some general frequently asked questions, so to speak. And one of those little handouts we have is salary. And some people may have a misconception as to what attorneys make, depending on what field or what type of law you practice. It can range a wide range of different pay. So A lot of them are surprised at that. The legal field is one that pays good. However, the more you practice and the more experience you get, and depending on how blessed you are, of course, with anything, the more successful you'll be in it.
How important is it to train minorities when it comes to legal field? Every day, I work in the news and public affairs realm, and every day you're hearing something, that relates to some type of lawsuit, or it could be a potential lawsuit, or possibly where there may be some type of injustice. How important is it to bring on board these African American students?
Well, it's twofold. First, many people, and it's really disheartening, and I'm blessed to work at a firm that represents people who have been victims of injustice in one way, form, or fashion, via being taken advantage of by big corporations, insurance companies, or what have you. And one of the things that I notice, either with our clients or with people that I just run into, is that they're taken advantage of a lot of times and don't even know it. They don't know, even if they do know it, they don't know what vehicles they have to access justice. And so as young kids coming up, not even wanting to go in the legal field, this allows them to know, by talking to the different people or different attorneys that are on the stage in one-on-one or panel discussion or whatever, it gives them an opportunity to know that, hey, my mom or aunt had something similar happen to that. I didn't know you could go to a lawyer and have your rights protected that way. So it gives them at a young age a vehicle to pursue. Right. The second reason why it's important is for the students that are interested, and hopefully, although when they come there, like as I said before, probably 20 or 30% think about going to law school. After they leave this conference, maybe more of them will be interested in it. And for the people that are interested in going to law school, they will, as a practical matter, really will have to work harder than their counterparts. And a quick story: when I first got into law school, I went to visit some of the professors before I before class started, and one of the minority professors, Brian Fair at University of Alabama, told me that you will find out very soon that you will definitely have to work harder. The way law school is graded, not to get too bogged down, you're graded against each other, as opposed to in a normal setting. If you have 10 people taking the test, you have all 10 make 100, all 10 get an A. In this setting, if all 10 people get all 10 right, all questions right, not all 10 get an A. You're graded against each other, how good the next person's answer is compared to yours.
I'm curious to go back, because you said the professor told you that you already know that you're going to have to work harder. Now, what do they mean by that?
This is the reason, because law school generally grades on essays, exams. A lot of times when you're writing your answers, people who have been exposed to lawyers throughout their life, they will automatically have more to say. They will automatically have more insight into what they're saying, as opposed to someone like me who didn't know a lawyer growing up, who wasn't exposed to the law, who was not able to sit around the dinner table with my father or his friends listening in. My dad was a butcher. If I went to butcher school, I would be able to add a little more to the plate.
You would be ahead of the game.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And so as to that point, Professor Fair was saying that you're going to be graded against these same type of people who automatically have a leg up on you. So you're going to have to work harder.
An unfair playing field is what we would call it.
Yes, and that is something that I did realize. And so bringing it back around to this conference, many times, this will be the first time that a lot of these students have an opportunity to speak one-on-one with a minority attorney. And all of us, and when I say us, the minority attorneys that are participating, are encouraged to give out our cards and to have an open door policy to these students who are really looking forward to contacting them afterwards, whether they want to go into law school or not. And if they do, definitely having them as mentors or resource to get information on in order to help bridge that gap once they get to law school, if that's the route they choose.
And I'm sure you've been an attorney for a long time here. I know, covering the state legislature, you always hear things about the death penalty, moratoriums. about attorneys who are embezzling money. You just hear about different stories. But I wanted to ask you on the question of prison. Some people say, one reason that we have a disproportionate number of African Americans behind bars is because we don't have the black representation in the courtroom. Like, we don't have the black judge, we don't have the black attorneys who understand what is going on, who understand that from the very beginning, outside of the womb, that it is an unfair playing field. Do you agree with this?
Well, how long is this interview? We can go a long way with that. Surprisingly, though, here in
Alabama,
in Alabama and Montgomery, representation is a lot better, probably than many places.
What's the representation here, though?
Well, we looked at the number of black attorneys in Alabama, period, and I want to say that it was close to 1,200.
Versus
well, obviously we are much more much more down the line.
Very much so.
And it's probably in the range of, I would venture to say, 20-25%.
Wow.
But when you look at Montgomery itself and you look at the judges, you talk about the judges. We have a chief judge, Charles Price, in our circuit court system, the main judge. When I say main, he's the boss of the judges. No disrespect to any of the others. And we have other representative minority judges within that system. In the federal court system, we talked about Judge Thompson, Judge Terry Moore, who's going to be speaking here.
Judge Hardwick.
He's he's in that same system as Judge Price. And then the municipal court judges, such as Troy Massey and Lewis Gillis. And so we are slowly but surely definitely having people that we as potential citizens that have to go before them.
But is that the reason why prisons are disproportionately black? I mean, is it because we have the white prosecutors and the white judges?
Well,
who don't understand?
I think there's a certain portion. There's obviously a certain percentage of that goes towards that thought process, but I think the disproportion goes much deeper than just what color the prosecutors are or the judges are. I think that problem starts, like I said, 30 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever we have left, wouldn't be able to cover that as much as we really should. But
that's another show.
That's another show. But for the most part, I have, family members who've had to go before judges, and the judges that they've gone before have not been black judges. And from my personal experience, they were treated fair.
But you've got to believe that in some cases there are some judges and some attorneys who I guess practice injustice based upon your color of your skin.
Definitely. And that's not to say that doesn't go on. From the judges that I've been able to come in contact here, I would say very few I would think, from what I've seen, would go that route. Not to say that they don't, not to say they have not. And I know for sure that happens many places. And that's as to that number or percentage of judges and prosecutors who go after us particularly, that does account for many people that are in jail, and counts for the reason why we have so many numbers, or a disproportionate number of African Americans to say any other race.
You get that question a lot, don't you? Being a black attorney,
it's right after are you a criminal attorney, and how much do you make? That's one of the big questions that people do have, and it's understandable. Because
do you think our youth kind of overlook how much power there is in the legal system? Basically, the legal system seems to, it affects every facet of your life. You seem to, sometimes you think, no, but every facet, when you think about it.
It does. One of the very first lessons I learned when I joined Beasley Allen I thought I was going to get a lesson in how to do an opening or how to do a closing or cross-examination. Instead, I got a good lesson in, politics, or a lesson in advocating for laws that are going to protect our clients, and how what's the best way to get that before different legislators. And it was a lot of politics or lawmaking stuff that I didn't bargain for.
Right. Is it difficult to become an attorney? I'm talking more of what you had to go through in law school. As far as the studying, you hear about the horror stories where people were up for 48 hours without any sleep.
One thing I promised myself was not to give anyone false hopes into thinking that after I went through law school, of thinking that it's an easy ride. It's very, very difficult. Different people have their different war stories or horror stories, and I certainly have my share. But as with anything, the more you work or the harder you work for something, the more beneficial or the more gratitude you have for it in the end. The law school experience was definitely tough. The taking the bar experience was on a whole nother level. That's, obviously all your eggs. A lot of people realize you can graduate law school, you're not a lawyer. You have a Juris Doctor degree, a JD degree, but you can't practice law. You have to actually take the bar. And taking the bar in this state is 3 days, 8-10 hours per day. Very time consuming, rigorous. Nobody walks out of the bar. Nobody I've ever talked to has walked out of taking the bar feeling as if they passed it.
When you approach I see your bio here. When you approach your different cases, does race ever play a part with you?
Not necessarily. No, and actually,
really,
not necessarily. When I have my cases, and once again, my firm, we represent people who've been taken advantage of, and so in that respect, I can identify with a lot of the people. The last trial I had were two sons. Actually, they happened to be from Tuscaloosa. And they didn't look anything like me. If I saw them on the street, I would have thought that they were, racist or just the way they looked. Had close to skinheads, shaven, haircuts. But they lost their father. It was a wrongful death case where a log fell over and killed their father, smashed their father, and talking to them and listening to what their feelings were as far as losing their father, you can't help but sympathize. And I found very, very quickly after my first impression of them, being able to really empathize or relate to the fact of them being a victim, or them their love for their father who they lost. Right. And so when the race comes into a play is, depending on, what type of jury will you have as opposed to, the color of my client. And practicality, as a practical matter, rather, that can affect an outcome of a particular case if you, depending on, the racial makeup of your jury and depending on your client, the parties in the case, your clients or whoever was on the other side.
Well, you know what? You've given us a good rundown. I mean, now you guys, you're listening to this. I mean, this is something, I've got to say you're so well accomplished and very deep. Like I said, there's other issues when it comes to law that you can go all day on. But once again, we're talking about the annual Minority Pre-Law Conference. And it's designed, like I said, just to get our 11th and 12th grade high school students interested in the legal profession. Hats off to you. Once again, this is a partnership between who?
This is a partnership between a few different organizations. The Alabama State Bar Young Lawyers section, the Capital City Bar Association, which is the Montgomery Minority Bar Association, the Alabama Lawyers Association, which is the statewide Lawyers Association, Minority Lawyers Association, along with various different firms, including my particular firm, Beasley, Allen Crow, Method, Portis, and Miles. Have all chipped in, sponsored, have been a part of making sure that we're able to bring these particular conferences to the Montgomery and Birmingham area.
Who fits the bill for something like this, or is there no cost associated?
The young lawyers section has a pretty nice budget, and you're right. This is a pretty nice bill. They take care of a good majority of the expenses, and then you have law firms such as Beasley Allen, such as Maynard Cooper, such as a lot of different.
How much does this initiative cost every year? Roughly over $16,000 to $17,000 for both conferences. We're holding it at Alabama State University. We're holding it at Birmingham Southern in Birmingham. And, for the luncheon and the meals, for the busing, we provide busing transportation for all the schools, so they won't have to worry about it. And with the increased gas, you can just, leave it at that. I think we'll be at about $5 a gallon pretty soon, so we're definitely going to need some attorneys.
Yeah.
When the lawsuits come.
Well, hopefully we're already working on that one.
And I'm pretty sure. So roughly about $50,000 between the two conferences. Once again, tell us where the conferences will be and give us the dates also for those conferences.
The first one we have coming is the Birmingham conference, which is April 2nd at Birmingham Southern College. That complete conference will be held at that location. And then April 17th, we will have the Montgomery pre-law conference. The first portion of the conference during the daytime will be held over at the federal courthouse, where the mock trial, of course, will be in the actual courtroom with the keynote speaker speaking there, and then we will go over to Alabama State University, where we'll have the luncheon and we'll have the breakout sessions there. That will be April 17th.
All right. Well, a very historic federal courthouse. Some very big cases have been litigated there. I mean, some national ones. When you think, most recently, I can think of the Ten Commandments Monument. Very huge case. I mean, international case litigated right there at the federal courthouse.
Yeah, several of them. Then even more recent is the Don Siegelman, Richard Scrushy trial, where there were a lot of minority attorneys had their hand in that particular case.
Hats off to you guys, definitely for encouraging our youth, those people who do start off with an unfair playing field. Definitely. I'm speaking with Mr. Navan Ward Jr. Is it Navan Ward or Navan Ward Jr.? Do you either way?
Navan Ward Jr. Whatever you want to call me.
Navan Ward Jr., who is a partner with Beasley Allen Law Firm right here in Montgomery. I thank you so very much. And I guess for those who want more information, it's too late for the students to get in for this conference, right? 2008. But of course, 2009 is coming.
2009 is coming.
How do you get involved? Just
contact Larry, either myself, Navan Ward, or Larry Golson, who is the president of the Capital City Bar Association, once again, the Minority Bar Association.
You have a number for us that you can give us, please?
We both are in the same firm, so 334-269-2343.
Once again.
334-269-2343. I ask for Navan Ward or Larry Golston, pre-law, minority pre-law conference. And if your school is interested, definitely we will contact guidance counselors and see if we can make that work for next year.
Thank you so very much. Guys, don't miss out. It's the annual Minority Pre-Law Conference. Now, can we attend? If you're a parent and you're interested, can you attend? Or is it just for those people, for the students and those law school students?
Certainly. Please come and
check it out.
Check it out.
Thank you so very much. I'm Cynthia Mallard, and this has been River Region Talk. Join me next weekend.